So do you actually want to share your pricing about your services and offers before people get on a sales call with you? Stay tuned, because in this episode, I am going to address this very hot topic in the online space and give you the pros and cons to options for you so you can make the best decision for your business. Hello and thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time viewing, welcome to the SaaS and SEO channel. My name is Soph and I am so happy to have you here. In this channel, we teach everything SEO marketing, online business, and automations. And in today's episode, we're going to address a hot topic around one of the most common questions I get with any new client, and that is, do I actually share my pricing before I have a client on a sales call? Now, depending on what field or industry you're in, some of you might be wondering, what? Is this even a question? And others of you might be wondering, I have totally thought about that too. So if that's you, whatever end you're on, I want to address the options for you and really talk about personal values and how we make these decisions for ourselves, but also for our clients. The common trend in the online space for service providers is typically being taught the dogma that you don't want to share any information about pricing before somebody gets on a sales call. We want to market, we want to educate, we want to empower, but we don't tell them the price. And we wait because we want to get them on a sales call in order to have them feel like we're really providing the value and explaining it, because that's how they're going to know the value of the program. And then on the call, we share the pricing and the information for the very first time. And on that, when they respond to how we mention the pricing, that's where you are trained to work with them through objections, any concerns, any fears, to help them feel excited about investing. So I'm going to preface on this and say that there is no right or wrong way to go about business. You get to do business the way that you want to do business, and you get to make what works work for you. But I want to address this because for me, this was a big issue that I had, especially with folks who would come in and not really understand what we would do, or not really understand the pricing behind it, and were no way equipped to afford the services that we offered. And so when I started to get clear on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to show up, one of the biggest values I had was recognizing transparency in the conversation. And for some folks, this may not be as relevant. There's plenty of companies and businesses that to this date don't share pricing or information prior to getting on a call with them. This is with tech companies, this is with software companies, it's all across the industry. But you get to decide what industry you want to be in and what game you want to play. The biggest pro to not having the pricing on your actual pages or not having it up front is that folks don't know. So you do get to meet people who are potentially curious and interested. But on the flip side of that, one of the cons is that oftentimes you may be connecting or meeting with people who are in no place financially ready or able to invest in your services, which can feel incredibly disheartening if you're getting on call after call after call and the continuous response is that they simply cannot afford the service. This is something that could easily be avoided with simply providing information, whether through application or through an email, to let them know, hey, here's the potential investment that we're talking about. If you have questions, let me know. So what is the alternative option here? Well, there's a few different ways you can go about this. Depending on the kind of service or business that you run, you can set this up in a few different ways. One way that you can set this up is by building it into your actual sales page and sales process. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, I don't have a sales page. I don't have a website. I don't have all of that stuff. And that's okay. You don't need it. If you're somebody who currently runs sales calls and you've been withholding that information about whether or not you want to share the price before the call, the quickest and easiest way to do this is to actually have it on the intake form, application form, or booking form when somebody's booking a call with you. And it could be a simple question that says, our services range from this to this. Which of the following statements most applies to you? And you can have in there, I'm ready to pay in full. I might need a payment plan. I'm really interested and want to make this work. And I have absolutely no way to financially make this work right now. Do you have any lower cost options? The best way that you can do that is when people are booking, you'll know ahead of time where they are financially. They know the price, and it doesn't come as a big surprise where you're having to coach them on their feelings about their financial decisions. And then on the other end of this, you can also have that piece of information shared in the confirmation email and what we like to call an enrollment guide. An enrollment guide is essentially all of the information and details about your services or about your program that somebody's getting on a call with you for, that gives them everything that they need to know about it. So instead of having to spend all this time on calls going over logistical details, they have that information. You can answer questions and help them actually decide if this is the right fit for them. It saves you time, it saves them time, and it gives them more time to actually digest the information and feel empowered in their decision. Inside of that enrollment guide, typically what we include is information regarding the time, the deliverables, the actual assets assets that are involved, any pieces around pricing, and any kind of other testimonials or case studies that might feel important for them to have an understanding of. We send this enrollment guide after they book their call. And so they get this with more information to help them make that decision. So these are 2 ways that you can do this without having any sales page whatsoever or any website. The third option is obviously having it on the sales page, having it on your website so that you can have them see what the pricing is and then make the decision from there. Now, I won't get into studies and stats on this today because there really is not a hard yes or no answer. It's a personal call and a personal piece of what you value, what you believe. Obviously, the cons to having pricing up front like that, it may deter people who just aren't ready to buy. But the question that I would ask in that is, if they weren't going to buy if they knew the price up the front end, were they ever going to buy if they didn't know the price and then got on the phone and found out on the back end? It's never really actually about the price. It's about how you show up, present, market, educate, and inform your audience on what it is that you do and how you help them get the result that they want, and create it in a way that makes sense for them and is accessible to them. So if you are somebody who is contemplating right now, do I put my pricing on the front end or do I continue to have it not shared until we get on a call? I hope that this can start to open up the conversation for you and help you think about what kind of buying process you want to create for your clients and what kind of experience you want to have if you are doing sales calls. Additionally, one of the amazing pros of having pricing on the front end is that we don't have to have a call with somebody in order for them to purchase. So it helps to speed up that enrollment process, and where we start to get into more things like fun automation, which we're not going to cover in today's episode, but be sure to hit subscribe if you'd like to find out about more and turn on that notification bell up top so that you can get the first time notification anytime we release new content. But for the purpose of this episode and this video, what I want to emphasize is you get to make the rules, and having your pricing on the front end of any of your sales processes, whether on a sales page, in an application, in an enrollment guide, or in a confirmation email, does not dictate whether or not somebody is going to enroll. The only thing that really does is whether or not they actually see it as a fit and as something that's valuable, which has more to do with your actual marketing and your positioning than it does with where you tell them about the actual price. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you have questions, if you have comments, please leave them down below. I know that this is a hot topic and I'm curious to hear other folks' perspectives and opinions, perhaps even things I didn't think of, so that we can go ahead and have that amazing conversation down below, as well as any requests for future content topics. As always, I will see you on the next episode.